have been on antidepressants since I was 15 or 14, so about 4 years. And I have been on Zoloft, Paxil, Seroquel, Ativan, Celexa, and Effexor.
My experience is I was going to take them. I was prescribed them by a therapist, but my mom is a vet and she knows things about medicine, and she didn't want me taking them on my side effects, even though my therapist told me to, like, you should take Ritalin, and she prescribed other drugs, but Ritalin was like the top one that my mom paid attention to. And some of the side effects that my mom told me about were mood swings, weight loss.
I teach high school, and some of my students in high school take prescription drugs. Some of them take it and I don't know that they take it, and others take it and I do know that they take it.
I went to go see my family doctor. He talked to me about 10-15 minutes, asked me what was wrong, what caused the panic attack, and I didn't have very many answers. And his answer was, you need to be on antidepressants, you need to see a psychiatrist. And so he prescribed me to be on Paxil. About a month after I had been taking them, he told me that he gave me the wrong prescription because they're not allowed to give Paxil to anybody under the age of 18, but I had been taking it for about 2 months. And when I was coming off of it and switching on to my new drug that he prescribed me for, I was seeing things. I had seen colors. I had heard voices while I was in class, and they were screaming in my ears. He told me I should be on Seroquel, which is actually an antipsychotic, and they never told me that. It's given to schizophrenics. They were supposed to take away my nightmares, but you become dependent on the pills to help you fall asleep.
Well, actually, I made my mom test me. We went to this place in Vermont that's the Sylvan Learning Center, where they have tests where you answer questions and then they interview you to ask if you have ADD, like to answer some questions for you, but that turned out negative.
Some students take medication that doesn't last long enough, and so their behaviors swing radically during school time. And that's not fair to them, and that's very difficult for them. And other students take medication that lasts too long, in which case it deprives them of sleep, deprives them of appetite. So it becomes quite a large, complex problem rather than just a medication problem. And some students take the wrong kind of drug. And so, they're poorly prescribed. So they're taking something that isn't helping them, it's hindering them.
I have a lot of friends who, their personalities and the way they act as people has completely changed because of these drugs that they've been taking. I lost a lot of friends at school because I was also acting really strange at school. I was like jumping off the walls. I was extremely hyper, and my friends thought that I was doing it just to get attention. But it wasn't that. It was that there was a bunch of, things that were going through my head, and these drugs were making me act really strange. I didn't know who I was anymore.
I think it's a very personal decision on their part. I think some students feel they need it, and some students are told that they need it, and some students don't know that they need it. Well, any reliance on prescription drugs, heavy reliance on prescription drugs, affects everybody. It puts barriers up. It trains bad behavior. So it can be negative. Prescription drugs are a complex thing, and I think that it's just very typical of our society that we don't look at, we're not taught to look at it in that way. And I don't think it's just ADD and ADHD. I think it's a larger symptom than that.
A lot of the time, doctors will sit there and they'll talk to you for like maybe 5 seconds. Like, they don't even ask you what's actually going on. And they prescribe you all these different drugs. And to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they're not testing us for anything. They're not digging a little deeper. Need to realize that there are alternatives like counseling, you know, going to therapy, talking about your issues, talking about your, you know, problems, trying to work it out instead of depending on a drug that sometimes doesn't always work.
I think that you can do a lot of sports because being athletic and having ADD or ADHD helps you kind of drain out some of that energy. A lot of those sports where you're just able to be very creative and have your own style just brought into it helps people, I think, personally.
Prescription drugs are a temporary solution, or should be looked at as a temporary solution. And skills and skill training and attitude adjustment and living skills all need to be acquired to replace the dependency on drugs. So, and oftentimes that doesn't happen, that the drug is seen to be the cure, and the treatment, so-called treatment process stops there. And so students never learn the skills necessary to live well beyond relying on medication. And so the reliance on medication is really taught to them. It becomes the be-all and end-all.
My future has definitely been changed by the prescriptions that I take, because I'm addicted to the drug. I can't get off of it. If I do, you know, my family gets scared because, you know, I'm having all these thoughts about dying, and of course they don't want their child to go off and kill themselves, and a lot of parents take that into their own hands and they blame themselves for stuff like that.
I think I was fine with that medication. And, you know, when you go, you know, ADD is really not something that bad. It's like not like cancer or anything, you know. And it's just like a little personal triumph that you need to overcome. You know, it's just like a little downfall in your system. And I think that it really helps out when somebody actually has ADD and they don't take medication, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, they start to realize, you know, I really can do this. And then when they just face everyday obstacles, they realize from having ADD and, like, you know, realizing they can beat that they can beat just ordinary things. And personally, that, you know, when you realize you can do something like that, you realize you can do a lot of things that, I mean, everybody can do, they just don't realize they can.
And I really hope that one day I'll be able to get off of these drugs, you know, but the withdrawal symptoms of it are really hard to go through by yourself, but eventually I think I'll be able to do it.